We're back here. This is the Mountain Outpost coverage of the Javelina 100 presented by Hoka and the Feed. Chris Warden.
Leah Yingling.
And we are here with a guest who I've gotten to watch mature and grow as a racer here. And I'm actually super excited to have this conversation because we've been talking after a few races and before a few races here recently. Sierra DeGroff of the Air Viper Racing Team. Sierra, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So Sierra, you've been here to Javelina a couple years now. So I see 100K, 30K. Talk about what's bringing you here to the 100 mile this year.
So this race, it really, I feel like, plays to a lot of strengths that I have myself. I live in Las Vegas, so I live in the desert. It's pretty similar to Phoenix temps. I'm also, I'm into trails, but I'm not the best, technical trail runner, and I have a lot of speed. So, this year, Badwater didn't go exactly as planned, so I was ready to take on another big goal, so I thought Javelina was the perfect fit. So well,
I'm genuinely curious to see how this race goes for you, because first of all, you have actually one of the more fascinating ultra signups to follow, because you can see the development and the progression you made as a runner. You went from basically somebody who was fighting and chasing for 24 to moving down into the sub 16 range for the 100 miler. That's a hell of a lot of improvement, and it shows progression. It shows how bad you want it, because this obviously did not come to you naturally when you first started this sport. Can you talk about your journey to this point?
Yeah, so I'm not scared to say I started more of a middle of the pack or ultra runner. I've been doing ultras since probably 2018, 2019. Back then it was more about just let's have fun, let's go on the friend trips, where we go do races and stuff. But I never really thought I was that good of a trail runner, so I didn't push myself for it really. And then, I had a more of a road running background actually. So I kind of tried some of those shorter loop courses for the timed events or 100 mile. And those actually went really well. And that was, for me, that was a huge confidence booster, because I'm okay, I can shave some time off, and who doesn't like getting done sooner, So, just one thing led to another, and I don't know, now we're here again. So
you mentioned not having Badwater go exactly how you wanted this summer. Can you talk a little bit about your experience there and how you regrouped after to bring it here to Javelina?
Sure. So that was my second time at Badwater. I also did it last year. Both years were quite the challenge. Each year, new challenges. I fell at about mile 8 on Badwater Road, and I blasted my knee open and stuff, so that was kind of frightening. But that didn't derail anything. That was just scary. And it was 118 at the start with a 30 mile per hour headwind, so there was dust and stuff blowing in your eyes. And I have contacts, so if you ever see me blinking, I have poor vision to begin with, so I think that was what had caused the fall. And then there was bees at Town Pass, which was mile, I don't remember, it's 60 something. So I got stung by bees 8 times, because there was swarms, and they went in my sun shirt and were stinging my neck. And then I puked, I think, the last 40 or 50 miles. So it was quite the race. We were out there a little longer than we expected, but the heat was not the deterring factor for me. I would like to say it was just everything else, and 2 nights. I don't staying up that long, so it's rough.
So Sierra, when we've talked to other runners about their preparations for this race, one of the things we've talked about is heat mitigation strategy. Obviously, you having run in Badwater, you know what you're doing out there. Do you think that gives you perhaps a different perspective, or maybe even an advantage versus the other people who are, coming from places like Montana or the East Coast?
I would say absolutely. I mean, it's been 100 degrees almost every day up until the last week in Las Vegas. And I'll try to run after work if I can to make it hotter. And I've been hitting the sauna 5 days a week. And yeah, I mean, I'm no stranger to the heat, and I think just being able to push yourself in the heat is even better, and we came out and did the Javelina Hangover too, which was a great simulator for this as well. So
can you talk a little bit about your race strategy for this year's Javelina and how you'll be approaching the competitive element of the race?
Yeah, so I am going all out. I mean, I like to set big goals for myself, even if somebody thinks I'm crazy. I don't care. I'm going to go for a ticket. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there. I do want to run a smart race, though. I don't want to. I mean, I've been notorious for going out hot, and like I'm a very what is it? I'm trying to find the word. I'm a risk taker, if you will, and then I'll just pick up the pieces later. But I think this race, I want to do a better job with keeping it within like my goal and what I'm focusing on. And you know, I know how to deal with the heat, so I'm not as worried about that. I just don't want to like overcook myself based on pace and everything. So just being patient, that's going to be my biggest strategy for the day. So
do you see yourself, I mean, I've watched you race at multiple events, and one of the things that the races that I've seen you do have been the track and the flatter stuff. I mean, do you feel like, you mentioned you ran Hangover and ran it pretty quickly this summer. Do you feel like you're ready for the terrain that this presents out here? It's not the most technical in the world, but it is much different than a Jackpot or a Desert Solstice.
Sure. Yeah, I do. Vegas trails are pretty rocky. Honestly, like we don't have anything that's this smooth. Like some parts of this is just like packed dirt, you know? I mean, there are some more technical sections, but we already have a plan to kind of, you know, scale it back a little bit on those sections anyways. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like it's going to be just like every other 100. You might slow down a little bit towards the end, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've done similar hundreds that are flatter and stuff, and as long as it's not super technical, I think I should be fine, which I know it's not. So,
Can you talk a little bit about who will be out there supporting you tomorrow?
Yeah. So I do have my friend John Willman, who's been my crew chief. He was actually my crew chief at Badwater this year. He was at Badwater last year. He helped me at Jackpot the year I won the national championship. And then I have two girls that are going to be pacing me. My friend Holly from Las Vegas, she's been a really vital like training partner for Badwater, for my marathon that I just did. Like she's my go-to like long run person, so I'm glad to have her out here. And Megan Cuprace from the Air Viper race team, told her, I'm like, you got Ragna there last year, let's do it again, you know. So, and Joe, my boyfriend, he'll be out. He's pacing for Nan, but he'll be around to crew.
Awesome.
So.
Actually, that's one of the things I wanted to bring up was the fact that Megan Kupras was going to be pacing you, and Megan has experience pacing a golden ticket winner here at this race. So I feel that that's something that is definitely an asset that you have. And I'm gonna blow Megan out here on this one because she did kind of let loose that you have some real big goals for this weekend. Would you care to expand on what your goals are? Maybe like your PR is under 16 hours for the 100 miler. Do you expect to improve upon that PR here?
I would love to. I mean, I would hope that I can keep it more around 15 or sub 15. I don't know how far sub 15. One thing I will say, my PR, I wasn't really like racing any other females. Like the year I won Jackpot, I was basically racing myself. I mean, the next girl I think was like an hour behind me. So I think having the opportunity to race against so many strong females tomorrow, I mean, that's going to help push me and motivate me. I mean, I get lonely too, you know, and I lose the motivation when nobody's out there. So it's going to be good to like feed off each other's energy. So.
Can you talk a little bit about what you'll be wearing tomorrow? Your kit, your shoes, any costumes?
I'm not doing a costume. I know. I love costumes. I'm always in a costume. But this year we're serious, so we're not doing that. I will be wearing Mount to Coast R1s. I'm actually a runner for them, so I'm excited. I wore those at the Hangover run, and they did really well. That's my plan. I have a couple other Mount to Coast shoes that I may change into, but I wore them for Badwater, so
nice.
And then just spandex and Air Viper race team shirt and maybe a sun hoodie.
Bottle or packs?
I'm doing handhelds to start with a naked belt. I do have some back issues here and there, so I may switch into a pack if my back starts bothering me, but we're gonna start with the handhelds and the waist belt. So
Nice. So I saw that you recently ran the St. George Marathon. I know it wasn't a cool day there. Can you talk about some of the learnings that you had from doing a road marathon block and then getting into javelina shape?
Yeah, so I didn't feel like it was that hot, but, you know, there was a lot of people feeling it out there. It was fun. I mean, I feel like my coach and I, we geared the training more towards this, and I just, you know, I had based my time that I wanted to run at St. George off of my speed workouts that I was doing. And I had no idea what to expect because I hadn't raced a road marathon since like 2019. So I set a pretty big goal for that, which was a 2:52, and I ended up running that. So that was cool. But yeah, no issues. I mean, I felt really controlled. Like, I think I could have went a little faster, but it was a good day. A lot of downhill, though, kind of wrecked me the next day. So
A lot of downhill there.
it was like all downhill. And then I think miles 7 to 8 was all uphill. So that was fun. But
Well, Sierra, I did during our free trail preview show this morning, I did name drop you because I was like, there are certain people who I think that, you know, maybe aren't familiar to the greater running audience at large. And I felt like maybe it's, you know, maybe it's recency bias simply because I have been at Jackpot. I have been out at races where you've done very well. And I think that this is an excellent opportunity if things go well for you to introduce yourself to a greater audience. So best of luck to you here this weekend.
thanks.
Yeah, we're excited to see you out there. Big fans of yours, and I'm sure you'll have a great day out there in the heat.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait.
Awesome. Sierra DeGroff, thanks for joining us here on the Mountain Outpost YouTube channel. This is the Javelina Jundred interview series presented by Hoka and the Feed. We'll be back with one more here before we close up shop here this evening.